Council President Mitchell.
Here.
Council Members Smith, Hall, Young, Winslow, Archibong, Wan, Shook, Adrian, Moore, Martin, Bottoms, Shepherd, Bond, Watson, Willis. Quorum present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We will now have the invocation. I will ask my colleague Ivory Lee Young Jr. to introduce our pastor for today. Pastor Gerald Durley is the senior pastor with Providence Missionary Baptist Church. For many who have been active in so many movements, they know him firsthand for his activity, not only during the civil rights movement, but during our current movements. When there have been issues that have required resolution, when we've had liquor stores that have had an inordinate impact on our youth, when we've had drug sales and illegal activity in certain corridors, Dr. Durley, without fear, stood boldly against those ills in our community. But I know him to be a great man of God. In the interfaith community, internationally, there's no one equaled in his advocacy and bringing people to the body of Christ. I've known him as the senior pastor, but now I introduce to you a great public servant, the senior pastor of Providence Missionary Baptist Church, Dr. Gerald L. Durley.
Thank you very much, Councilman Young, to President Caesar Mitchell, and to the other council members. I'm very honored that you'd have me to come and pray, because everything rests upon the power of God. Please join with me as we take this meeting to the throne of grace. Almighty and merciful creator of all humankind, it is once again that you have assembled us together as a legislative body dedicated to improving and enhancing the well-being of those whom you've created in your image. First and foremost, we approach your wise counsel to thank you for what you've already done in our lives and in our city. We thank you for life and family and friends and a beautiful earth, the air we breathe. We thank you for providing us with a beautiful city and a committed city government who is concerned about the least of these as well as those in power. We humbly bow before your awesome presence this afternoon, confessing that we don't pretend to have all of the answers to resolving and solving the many perplexing issues which confront this city. But we are wise enough to graciously seek your wisdom and guidance in matters pertaining to the concerns which the people have elected this council to accomplish. Dear God, I ask for a special anointing of compassion, caring, wisdom, insights on every council member here, that their decisions would reflect your input and your guidance, because you are too wise and loving to ever make a mistake. Right now, oh God, I ask that each council member would place his or her political agendas and egos on your faultless altar and crush them. Then assist each council member to be led not by their own understanding, but in everything acknowledge you. You've promised to guide and to lead them into all truth. We ask that you would bless Mayor Kasim Reed and his administration and staff. Then finally, Almighty God, we beseech you to bless and touch each person who's assembled here, who has come here today to express a particular concern. Let their intent be for the welfare and the well-being of all of the people, and let their words be heard by the council. Let today's proceedings be conducted and accomplished in your divine order, and issues be resolved which will be mutually beneficial for all. These are our requests. God, reach down and touch now in your own masterful way. Let the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart come from your divine throne, and touch right now that all of us will be effective in a positive way that will make this continue to be one of the greatest cities in the world. And I ask it all in the name of the powerful saints of all centuries. In that name we pray. Let everyone say, amen. I can't hear you.
Amen.
I still didn't hear you.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Durley. If everyone could please stand as you are able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. And once again, Pastor Durley, thank you for being here with us today. I know that you are getting close to your big day. So we will sorely miss you in the pulpit, but we know you will still continue to do service in this community and around the country and the world.
Follow the advice of Dr. King when I looked at his grave and as I retired, he says on his tombstone, free at last, free at last.
Thank you again for being here. We'll move now to proclamations, commendations, and other special awards. We'll start with Council Member Michael Julian Bond, who has a proclamation to present. Is Michael here in the room? Did I hear? Okay. We're ready for you, Councilmember Bond.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to ask our honoree, Ms. Sadie Bolden Gaines, and her family to please make their way to the podium. I'd like to also ask Reverend Dr. Toussaint Hill to please also join us here at the podium. And as the family and the pastor make their way up to the podium, there's some special groups here today, and I'd like to ask you just to stand where you are when I acknowledge you that have come out in support of Ms. Gaines. First, the members of the West Hunter Street Baptist Church. Any members of the West Hunter Street Baptist Church, if you could stand where you are so we can see you. Thank you very much. Next is the Older Atlantis Task Force. Any members of the Older Atlantis Task Force? Thank you. Next is the Reaching Out to Senior Adults. Got a couple of folks here. And members of the Washington Park community at large. From that community, I know we've got Ms. Joyce Jones and, of course, Dr. Pearlie Craft Dove. Dr. Dove, you wave at everybody. And Christy Jackson, the NPU chair. Thank you all for being here. Oh, you all come on around. I'm also joined here at the podium, and of course he needs no introduction, the Dean of the Council, Councilmember C.T. Martin, who has the Phoenix Award that he's going to present also to Ms. Gaines. But I have a proclamation from the members of the City Council signed by the President and all 15 members in honor of Ms. Sadie Bolden Gaines. And the proclamation reads as follows. On the occasion of her 90th birthday year. That deserves some applause, making it 90 years. It's a great accomplishment. I'm struggling with the 46 that I've got. proclamation reads as follows. Whereas Sadie Bolden Gaines was born on April 28, 1922 in Washington County, Georgia, she is the seventh of 8 children born to Abram Bolden and Annie Gordon Bolden. Her father had one of the few black-owned farms in Georgia, and her mother was a teacher dedicated to educating black children throughout the segregated South. Whereas she moved to Atlanta as a young girl to live with her older sister and went on to graduate from Booker T. Washington High School. Later, as a rising junior at Clark College, she was selected to participate in the summer internship program at the Pentagon's Adjunct General's Office in Washington, D.C. Whereas impressed by her intelligence and diligence, the Adjunct General helped secure her a scholarship to Howard University, allowing her to continue working in the Pentagon, where she was among the first Africans to be employed there. Whereas Sadie Bolden Gaines received a bachelor's degree in mathematics from Howard University, master's degree, education specialist degree from Georgia State University. In 1945, she married Charles Clement C.C.
Gaines and raised 2 daughters, Carmen Gaines James and the late Shalesta Gaines McCoy. And whereas her lifelong and impressive commitment to public and community service has included board chair of the Phyllis Wheatley branch of the YWCA, one of the first African-American board members of the YWCA of Greater Atlanta, member and chair of both the Older Atlanta's Task Force and Reaching Out to Senior Adults, member appointed by Congressman John Lewis of the Senior Citizens Advisory Board, historian position, appointed by Reverend Ralph David Abernathy Sr. to the historic West Hunter Street Baptist Church. And whereas, as one of the founders of the Atlanta chapter of Jack and Jill of America Incorporated, Sadie Gaines was responsible for integrating the all-white WSB TV children's program, The Woody Willow Show. She has received numerous awards, including Channel 11's prestigious Community Service Award for her exemplary leadership, and she is a Golden Life member of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Whereas among the many positions she's held during her lifetime, those that she's most cherished were her employment with Spelman College and the City of Atlanta, where she worked for the Private Industry Council, which today is the Atlanta Workforce Development Agency. And whereas Sadie Bolden Gaines is beloved mother, grandmother, great and great-great-grandmother, she is an inspiration to an unwavering and guiding light for her community. Now we, the members of Atlanta City Council, on behalf of the citizens of the City of Atlanta, do hereby proclaim this day, July 20th, 2012, as July 16th, 2012 as Sadie Bolden Gaines Day in our fair city. And witness whereof we've caused the seal of the City of Atlanta to be hereunto affixed. Congratulations. Reverend, Ms. Gaines has told me that you are first. Okay.
The podium is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, my friends, as we join together with our great City Council of Atlanta, to its president and to the other members who serve on this distinguished council, to my brothers and sisters in Christ. We join together as family, church family, and friends to be able to honor one who has worked so diligently and so courageously and faithfully in our city and our society. We're so happy for, first of all, her longevity, that God has blessed her and God has spread his tremendous light of love in her life and given her body strength, her mind great wisdom, and her heart great love and great courage. We're grateful for what she has done. But more importantly, I want to share with you, she's not finished. She still is at West Hunter Street Baptist Church at least 3 or 4 times a week, I have to come in and she beats me to the office and stays all day. She is a lady who drives herself around with great dignity, great pride in who and what she is. We're just glad that we now give her her flowers while she still lives, and that she's able to feel the warmth and love that has been showered upon her today. So congratulations, and God bless you. Amen.
Councilmember C.T. Martin has an award that he's going to present on behalf of our mayor, so we're going to let the Dean of the Council assume the podium. Councilman Martin.
One of the young men who is serving as an intern asked me, who is that lady and what has she done? And I said, wow, that's an interesting question, but it shows you sometimes the gaps, some of this generation gap, because if you've been around in this city for a long period of time, from the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s, you had to know this Sadie Gaines. She's cut her teeth, as Michael has read, on so many strategic type technical projects for our city. She's a quiet lady. She's very forceful. And I worked with her in the private industry council, so I had an opportunity to share her intelligence and her strength, her spirit. If she decides to do something, you just got to get out of the way. So Aaron Turpole and myself and Wynn, you remember Wynn? Yeah. We just had to, we were at the top in the program, but we had to get out of her way because this was the boss. But we had respect for her, for all of her wisdom and her guidance. And she most definitely had always done her homework when she approached. As the pastor said, she arrives early and she leaves late. And all in between, she is working. It's an honor for me to read this proclamation from the mayor, and it's really what he gives for outstanding citizens, and citizens that we adore, we love, and we appreciate. And you definitely are in there, Ms. Gaines. It says congratulations, and it's called the Phoenix Award. On behalf of the people of Atlanta, I commend Mrs. Sadie Bolden Gaines on the occasion of your 90th birthday. You are the distinguished and long-time residents of the city of Atlanta. You have demonstrated outstanding dedication and devotion as a former employee of the Private Industry Council, which today is now the Atlanta Workforce Development. As a true advocate of public and community service, you have been dedicated to educating our youth and creating strides toward equality for all and the promotion of integration during the era of the Civil Rights Movement. We honor you for not only reaching such a significant milestone in your life, but all that you have given back to the city of Atlanta. Continue to be an inspiration to all, and best wishes for a remarkable and most memorable birthday celebration on July 16th, signed by the Honorable Cassine Reed, Mayor of Atlanta.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, one and all. I very much appreciate the kind words that I have heard and you have heard from my former co-workers. But now, I'm going to do something that's stupid, but funny. I want you to know that Councilman Bond was a little boy when I was a young lady. Can you imagine? Where is it? Can you imagine this being a little boy?
It's hard
And he had, some of you in here know Dr. Bond, who used to be at Atlanta University. And Dr. Bond was assigned as one of my advisors when I was working on my degree, my master's degree at Atlanta University. And I learned from Dr. Bond that they have found out that I was used to working with young women and doing a good job, you know, like the YWCA and everything. And they thought I need to get used to working with young men. So they persuaded my advisor to assign me as a student advisor to work under the direction of the dean of Morehouse College. Now, can't you imagine me with 5 sisters and 2 brothers knowing what to do with a group of men? But it was in that setting that I met this little boy. And it was in that setting that I learned in a pleasant way that you can't just be nice to your buddies and your friends. You got to learn to get along with everybody. And you got to learn how to listen to everybody and work with everybody and be corrective if you have to and be whatever else you have to, but do the best that you can. And I am so grateful, so very grateful that I learned that from those people, including the little boy, that nothing else in life can outdo it. I learned to love all of the people I work with, good or bad. I learned to find a way to tell them. Now he's calling it boss. I learned to find a way to tell them what I thought was good and what I thought was bad, and persuade them to agree with me a whole lot of the time. I want to say to all of you who are here today, learn when you can, everything you can, and then use it when you need to, and you'll make it in this man's world. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for working with me today. I see a lot of you. Thank you, friends, sorority sisters, everybody else. But most of all, I have several family members here, and I want to thank every one of them, because you know what? I have been given 3 birthdays, not 3 parties, 3 birthdays. Now, my mother said I was born on April the 28th, 1922. Well, the Social Security came along some 20 years later and said I was born on July the 28th. And if you look for my birth record, I don't know what you will find, but I know I was born. I have loved every minute of life. I love every one of you.
Any member of the family like
Good afternoon. It is my privilege to speak for the large and supportive family of Mrs. Sadie Gaines. We join you in saluting her, not only for the length of her service, but for the quality of her service. To those of you who have worked closely with her, I am sure you are aware of her high standards. In fact, it would be accurate to describe her no-nonsense approach to her work by this quote: "She does not suffer fools gladly." As you know, there are many ways to honor length of service: awarding trophies, presenting certificates, watches or pins, keeping track of years, hours, and days spent working on various projects. But to me, the truest recognition is that comes from the hearts of benefactors, co-workers, friends, and family. And that is what we are witnessing here today. I would like to end my remarks with a quote from Dr. George Washington Carver. "How far you go in life depends on your being tender with the young, compassionate with the aged, sympathetic with the striving, and tolerant of the weak and the strong, because someday you will have been all of these." My aunt has indeed been all of these, and she has proven at each phase of her long and productive life to be a truly phenomenal woman. Thank you so much for recognizing this and for honoring her today.
We're going to move up and take her pictures, but I just want to say, Ms. Gaines, I love you, appreciate you all these years, and I will say when I had the honor of serving over in District 3, which is the greatest council district in the city, Ms. Gaines used to give me kind direction as to what I should be doing, when I should be doing it, how I should be doing it. And even though I had been a city employee prior to my being elected, when I would talk to Ms. Gaines, she knew where all the switches were in the government. So when I would go to meetings in Washington Park and they would give me a list of things to do, Ms. Gaines would say, "Well, you know, you can do this and call this person and go this place." And I looked like a miracle worker. Well, it was Ms. Gaines that given me the direction and the insight that made me look good. So she's been the wind beneath not only my wings, but many others. And I want to just publicly say thank you, I love you, and I appreciate it. And I wanted to ask if any other council member would like to say something before we pose for our repose in the photograph. Anyone? Okay, well then let's have at it. So we want to move around to the front of the podium. If you can't see this camera, you're not in the picture.
Excuse me, trying to sit over here. Thank you, sir. All right.
And just briefly, for those who are here for the reception for Ms. Gaines, it is continuing in Committee Room 1. So there's lots of refreshment there. So if you'd like to join the Gaines family and say a word or two of kindness to Ms. Gaines personally, they'll be in Committee Room 1, just right of the council chamber as you exit. You do this. You do this. Wow. And she told me. I thought I knew it. Where she going? I was in the Howard. She did at Lane University. She was one of my granddaddy's favorite students. Yeah, I don't know if she knew my ask if she knew my grandmother. She probably did. I'm gonna ask her. Yeah. My grandmother would have been about 10 years old. Okay. This was me. I might stop. I might go by there.
Okay, as the Gaines family exits, we'll start with the next proclamation, which will be presented by Councilmember Kwanzaa Hall. Councilmember Hall?
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. I'd like to invite up Commissioner Richard Mendoza, as well as his staff members, Gayla Dodson, Verna Singleton, Octavia Swanson, Tracy Little, Melvin Callahan, Chantel Turner, Dennis Johnson, Joseph Dukes, Maurice Brawner, and Samuel Lightburn. And while they're coming up, I'll give a little bit of preface as to what's going on. This proclamation is in honor of City of Atlanta employees who went over and above the call of duty a few weeks ago at our Year Boulevard community cleanup in the Boulevard corridor within Bedford Pines. We spent a lot of time and energy to address the blight that has been long-standing there. As we roll out the Year Boulevard for 2012, they stepped up. I mean, we were all out in the hot sun. It was a really, really hot day, and they spent more time than I think was allocated originally, but just wanted to say thanks for the hard work that they put in, and the community and the city truly appreciates their dedicated service to the city. Hey.
All right. How you doing?
Thanks, and I'll go ahead and read the proclamation. Yo Boulevard, whereas on May 19, 2012, employees of the City of Atlanta's Department of Public Works joined 300 residents and business owners in the Old Fourth Ward neighborhood to participate in Atlanta City Council District 2's Year Boulevard Spring Community Cleanup. And whereas throughout the morning, Public Works employees worked with professionalism, initiative, and enthusiasm to improve the neighborhood, picking up trash and debris, cleaning the public right-of-way, moving long abandoned vacant lots, and mowing long abandoned vacant lots, and responding to community needs on the spot. And whereas the department's efforts were recognized and chronicled by Atlanta Magazine in its ongoing coverage of the Year Boulevard initiative, now therefore we, the members of Atlanta City Council, and on behalf of the citizens of Atlanta, hereby recognize the Department of Public Works for its commitment to the families and children of the Boulevard corridor on this 16th day of July, 2012, signed by Council President Mitchell and all of my colleagues on Council. Thank you so much to Commissioner Mendoza and the entire staff of Public Works. Thank you all. Give them a big round of applause, Commissioner.
Well, it's very nice, very unexpected. I want to thank Councilman Hall and Council District 2 for this recognition. It's very sincerely appreciated, not only from the Public Works folks that you see standing here, but our entire department. And we look forward to continued partnership in the future for future events to help keep this city clean. I don't want the other council members to think that we supported this one just because I happen to also live in Council District 2. But we do support community cleanups citywide. We look forward to continuing this partnership and serving proudly the citizens of Atlanta.
Thank you, Commissioner. Michael, any colleagues want to say anything, or yes?
Thank you. I just want to commend Councilman Hall for bestowing this honor upon our employees. I attended Bedside Baptist this Sunday, and I listened to a sermon that talked about telling people thank you and how important it is. So I just want to say thank you and congratulations, and just thank you to all of our employees who really do go above and beyond to make this city such a beautiful place, and you often are not recognized for it. So just on behalf of District 11, thank you.
And District 12. And that was what I was going to say pretty much, is that, Mr. White and Mr. Mendoza and all of you all do a great job. Sometime I do that to you. But, as a whole, Public Works is great. We couldn't do without you. We want to thank you all for that. All our cleaning up the streets, doing what you do. And we're working hard as we can to get you more revenue to do what you need to do. We know that we work y'all hard, and I just want to say thank you. I know sometime y'all hear from me, and I don't ever say thank you. This is my moment to say thank you for what you do for the city of Atlanta. Thank you.
Thank you. They do the jobs that none of us want to do, and they do them for years. I mean, over time, I think I've seen more long-term employees with Public Works than almost any other department. They're dedicated, they're focused, they show up. If you go to any of the Public Works depots where they deploy their forces, they're there early, and they leave late. And we've heard that once before today, but it's not a cliche with Public Works. And I would venture to say if my staff was in here, and I think all of our staffs, they'd be in a certain part of the audience wanting to give you a standing ovation for the number of constituent concerns, because sometimes we miss stuff, and our constituents are eyes and ears on the street. They report it, and at the 11th hour, with very little notice, you all go out and get it done. So, thank you. I mean, I can't say enough thanks.
I'm Carla Smith, District 1, Southeast Atlanta, and I know that Kwanzaa is kind of showing us off here, or up, by doing a proclamation. But if I had to do a proclamation, I would have to be here every week doing one for you. And I'm looking at Gayla, because Gayla knows I call her 24/7. And I email Richard Mendoza, the commissioner, all the time. And Dexter and I have been working very closely. But I just want to thank you and let you know that I appreciate you too. Y'all come to Southeast Atlanta all the time for me, and I appreciate you, even though they don't give you a proclamation every week, but you deserve one every week. Thank you.
I'm so glad to see all of our council members paying homage to the great team. They are a part of our team, and next week when we get ready to put in the pay request, I know they're going to be there with a big vote.
Thanks again, and just want to say thanks for Yo Boulevard and support, but also all council members signed this proclamation, so you truly do. And I know, Michael, you should be definitely.
Well, I mean, they deserve more than a proclamation. They make Boulevard look good. They deserve more than a proclamation. Yeah, but having been a city employee myself, I know that the work that you do, sometimes you don't feel appreciated. Sometimes you feel like you're working in a vacuum. Sometimes you feel like you're working under undue criticism. Sometimes Channel 5, Channel 2, Channel 11 picks out a bad apple and makes an example of all employees, which is not the case. Public Works, ladies and gentlemen, is the public working. That department has more city residents than any other department of city government that actually live in this city. They work in this city. They pay taxes in this city, and they show off their skills in this city. So I'm going to ask all of you to give them a standing ovation here, for these are the people that make the city of Atlanta look good, make us look good. And when this city looks good, these are the faces that did it.
Colleagues, if you'll join me for a photo here. Commissioner.
I want to give a shout out for the supervisor there, Mr. Dexter White. Come on out, Dexter. Oftentimes, he's not spoken about. Dexter works all the time. He's either working or running with his health, for good exercise. So we appreciate your attempts to get the new different kind of equipment. Dexter showed me a new piece of equipment that he has to help edge that 9 feet that we're supposed to. And I know y'all appreciate having good equipment to go along with the work that y'all do. And the other lady there, she does a lot of scheduling to make sure you get out. And of course, the boss of all bosses, yeah, she takes care of business. So we love you and appreciate you. Just keep on, keep it on.
All right. Y'all come on.
You got it. I come.
Come on. Okay. One more. All right. Y'all buy something big at the event.
Okay, as Public Works exits, we'll start with the final proclamation. If I could have Ms. Firestone come forward along with her team. This is a proclamation in recognition of the 22nd anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And I'm really glad to have Ms. Firestone here today. In fact, she is a tireless advocate for the disabilities community. In fact, she was in my office a couple of weeks ago on a completely different matter, but made me and made my office aware of an accessibility issue on the Mitchell Street side of City Hall. And it would only, of course, be her that would notice it and bring it to our attention, and we've gotten it fixed. So we really appreciate all of her advocacy and all of her service in the community. No, that's fine. That's fine. So in just a moment, we'll read the proclamation. And oftentimes we take accessibility for granted when we are not impaired with our sight, or if we don't have to rely on a cane or a wheelchair, but certainly it's something that we should never really take for granted, and should always remember those who have to utilize the accessibility that's created by this act in order to navigate their daily life and to be certainly productive members of our community. So we certainly applaud them for all of their work, and certainly Ms. Firestone, I applaud you. Let me read this proclamation. Again, it's a proclamation from the Atlanta City Council in recognition of the 22nd anniversary of the Americans with Disability Act. Whereas when the Americans with Disability Act, ADA, was signed into law in 1990, a founding truth of our nation was realized for persons living with disabilities. and that is that all of our citizens are entitled to the same privileges, pursuits, and civil rights. And whereas, as we mark the 22nd anniversary of this historic legislation, we are honored to join the Commission on Disability Affairs of Fulton County in renewing our commitment to ensuring that everyone with disabilities can live free from the weight of discrimination and pursue the American dream. And whereas across our country, Americans with disabilities have enriched and strengthened our nation, each day individuals living with disabilities contribute immeasurably to every aspect of our country's national life and economy, from art to law to science to business to education to technology and to the military. And whereas through steadfast determination they have worked to make our communities more accessible while empowering others to exercise independence and self-determination in all aspects of their lives, they have also brightened futures for countless young people. And whereas Metro Atlanta remains committed to leading by example and hiring people with disabilities with focused efforts to recruit, retain, and support these public servants. And whereas in honor and in solidarity with all Americans with disabilities and their loved ones, we celebrate the 22nd anniversary of the ADA and recommit to build a more just world free of unnecessary barriers and full of deeper understanding. Now therefore be it we resolve that the members of the Atlanta City Council and on behalf of the citizens of Atlanta hereby recognize the 22nd anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act on this 16th day of July 2012, and it's signed by all members of council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, President Mitchell. This is such an exciting time because this is the 22nd anniversary of the signing of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Individual rights have been a part of our American heritage. Since July 4th, 1776, when we had the signing of the Declaration of Independence, we just recently celebrated that again this month. In 1964, we had the Civil Rights Act, which was signed into law by then President Lyndon B. Johnson. Recently, we had a groundbreaking for the Civil Rights Museum that's going to be a part of Atlanta. This is going to be another exciting thing. But when the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was written, one right was left out, one civil right. And this was not corrected until 1990, when the American with Disabilities Act was signed, which gave the rights to persons with disabilities. So we are very thrilled to be celebrating all the advances that have been made in the last 22 years. I want to thank the Atlanta City Council for all that you do for persons with disabilities and for your continuing support. And I'd like to say we have some of the members of the Fulton County Commission on Disability Affairs here. Since Atlanta does not have a Commission on Disability Affairs yet, I have here Irvin Cox. I have on my left Horace Tribble. I have Lene Wyndham and Robert Smith. And these are very hard-working and dedicated people who come to everything early and stay late. We'll say that again today. So I want to thank you so much. Now, on the actual birthday, July 26th, we have something very exciting happening across the street at the Fulton County Atrium. We're having a disability awareness fair, and it will be from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and everybody that's here is invited, everybody that's looking on television is invited, but this will be a day of disability awareness on July 26th, a Thursday. We will have all types of entertainment, musicians, storytellers, actors, dancers, poets, all kinds of vendors with exhibits for people with disabilities, health booths. It will just be a fun day, so come and join us on July 26th
the true 22nd anniversary of the American with Disabilities Act. Thank you again.
Okay.
Are there any council members that would like to say anything? Okay, if not, let's all gather and we'll take a photo. Okay, we will move now to item number 6 on the agenda, which is remarks by the public. We allot as a council a total of 60 minutes for public comment. Each speaker has a total of 2 minutes to provide comment. When it is your turn, please come to this podium to my left, and please take note of the time that's displayed on the screens to both your left and your right. When that time comes to 0, please bring your comments promptly to an end. We have several speakers that have signed up today, and we'll start with the first 3. The first 3 are Ms. Linda Adams, Reverend Fletcher, and Mr. Tony Torrance. And we'll start in that order.
Greetings. My name is Linda Adams, a resident of the Vine City community. Special greetings to Councilman Young and Post 1 at Large, Mr. Michael Bond. I have lived in the Vine City neighborhood for over 16 years. I have been a community activist for over 14 of those years. I have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly that has come through that community. Mills Park would be the best development compared to Walmart. I live across the street from the 16 acres of the green space in which this park will be developed. I presently work with a group of youth who do not know the history of that neighborhood. I have over 30 signatures from my neighbors who is in great support of that park. Vine City is a community of great history and great leaders. Mills Park will uplift the history and the legacy of Vine City, in which the youth can walk to that park to get the history of Vine City. Council people, I ask that you all vote in favor of this park. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Adams. Reverend Fletcher.
Praise God. My name is Reverend Fletcher, founder of Walking Through the Vine Ministry. Last week, my councilman in the Finance Committee, he was sharing his feelings in reference to this organization that mishandled money reason we're not going to maintain the property. But the same organization he was talking about that misappropriate the money is the one with them white shirts on, Vine City Civil Association. And next thing, that this weekend, my organization, we was asked by NPUL to do a survey in reference to the Men's Park. Sometimes you have to do things because you got to make sure it ain't about you. It's about everybody. And we did that, and along in the midst of it, we worked around the perimeter. And Miss Linda Allen, thank God she came first, she told me that I couldn't go in apartments and do a survey. Two people in the apartment said that they didn't know nothing about it. The gentleman was finna fill out the survey, and she told him he couldn't. And it's sad when people threaten about where they live because of a survey. I told Ms. Allen, this is not personal. It's all right to agree to disagree, but to the level that this thing's going to, it's not fair, first of all. Second thing, I'm a preacher, and not just being a preacher, just being Bible believers. My God said that shall put no other God before thee. 1. 2, my God said that shall worship no idol God. And anytime you look at something 80 feet in the air, you worship an idol God, whether you want to believe it or not. We got pollution around there that is ridiculous, and sickness to the kids and the grown folks as well as everybody else. The city said they have corrected the problem. But when we left here Wednesday, we had a flood in Vine City on the same green space that they are so happy about. If we put statues on top of soil, and they talking about a 50-year agreement, that's not right.
Reverend Fletcher, your time is up.
That's all right. I got some more people going to bag it up.
All right. Thank you very much, Reverend Fletcher. Mr. Tony Torrance.
All due respect, good day, everybody. I'm starting to look at some of my council members, and they're not here. I wish they can be here because this is a serious issue that's going to deal with the whole entire city if this project goes through. I think it needs to slow down. I don't think you all want to deal with this project today. And the reason why I'm saying, we do need green space development in our community, but everybody don't know what's the environmental impact that's behind all of this. We have serious environmental issues in our community that the city is not addressing. We have serious sewer overflow issues that's affecting our housing stock. We have dilapidated properties we're infested with green mold and lead inside our community. And we have children, adults that walk through our community, we smell it. How does that affect our health? This is documented, it's recorded. I know the city is sick and tired of lawsuits all the time. And I believe you definitely don't want any lawsuits coming from our community. Since, you know, we're marked as known as being a bad community, but guess what? English Avenue, Vine City community residents, we stick together. If you know it or not. I mean, some are with, some are against. But the bigger picture of this, how are we going to deal with the flooding issues in this whole entire city? We sick of it. We've been dealing with this since 2002. Here it is 12, and we have not seen a sewer map or a flood impact map yet. And I've been begging for it. Nobody has come to our NPU to say, this is the issue, this is how the city is going to deal with it. What's the community input as of today? Thank you. Think about it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Torrance. I'm going to ask you not to make any applause. Thank you very much. The next three speakers are Mr. Shahid Dubois, J.R. Murphy, and Dave Walker.
Good afternoon. I am Clarence Shahid Dubois. I'm a resident of 254 Newport Street, and that's in Vine City, English Avenue, 30314. My relatives have been giving service to this city over 120 years, starting with W.E.B. Du Bois up until this current. I was the last PTA president of the English Avenue Elementary School. My family chose to return back to Vine City to live here we choose to work to be able to revitalize that area economically as well as the environmental issues that are. I support the Mims Park. I support this initiative as for a number of reasons, and we certainly would appreciate your favorable vote for the Mims Park, because this is an area that our community needs vitalization, and this is one of the few immediate opportunities to be able to revitalize that city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dubois. Mr. Murphy.
Good afternoon, and all respect due to the President and the council member. My name is J.R. Murphy. I'm the urban farmer for Vine City, okay, and I'm speaking for the Mims Park, and I also want to address things about the flooding and the pollution. Mr. Mims Park has already addressed, will address the flood issue, as well as I'm a member of the 193 Painters Union, and we already on the lead and asbestos, okay, and that's a part of one of the things that we have. And if you can't eat right, you can't live right. Okay, we're talking about children and everything else, but to make a long story short, I am for that, and I want you to consider some of the positive changes that Mims Park will bring about for the park will bring about for our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Murphy. Mr. Walker? Mr. Dave Walker?
Mr. President, council members, last week, Mayor Reed was on the campus of Georgia Tech talking about the safety of students and the campus. This morning, Mr. President, you were in this chamber talking about safety on the campus. You trying to do the mayor's job, Mr. President. We have a mayor and we have you. Your job, sir, is to preside over this council, to appoint committee chairs, and to break a tie. Now I'm confused. Since I'm running for your office, I take it then that I can come up there and preside. Since you are taking the mayor's job, then I can come and preemptively take your job. I have read the code from time to time, and I don't see in it where you can take the mayor's job. Somebody said to me out there in the hall, but Mr. Walker, if the mayor leaves town, Mr. Mitchell can preside. And I try to make it clear to them, it didn't mean that if the mayor goes to Candler Road, you can preside. It didn't mean that. There's a discretion thing here. He has to be gone longer than 3 hours. I was looking for the mayor in the hall today. I was looking for him so I could find him. I was going to drag him in here sort of kind of and say, Mr. Mayor, go up there and don't let him do this to you. But I couldn't find him. But I was looking for him. So I know the mayor is in his office right now. Mr. Mayor, I'm on your side. Don't let Mr. Mitchell become mayor until he gets elected. Thank you.
All right, the next speaker is Robin Carmichael, and then Ben Howard, and then Deacon Casey Cameron.
Greetings to everyone. My name is Robin Carmichael. I'm a resident of Vine City. My family holds 100+ years of history in the Vine City / English Avenue communities. I come here this morning with joy and thanksgiving for a city council and a government that has given us a city that's beautiful and great. We have a tendency to get things right here. Although y'all are blamed a lot of times for things that go wrong, y'all should also take credit of things that's gone right, such as the Georgia Aquarium, the Civil Rights Museum, and other things along that corridor. So I celebrate and support fully the initiative moving forward into the Vine City community as we cross over Northside Drive. My mother, as I spoke to her, she's 85 years old. She also stands in support of it. She spent 10 years of her life actually living on that property, on a portion of that property. We still own property in that community. So with all due respect to all the people that came before us, we do have a right to disagree on issues, and I respect every one of them. There's been some true champions that came before me. But on this particular issue, I think I'm right. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Carmichael. Mr. Howard?
Thank you, Mr. President. Ben Howard, Senior Advocate, 1840 Campbellton Road. I seek your help, council members, in promoting the concept occupational opportunity loss. The occupational opportunity loss factor would track the time lost between the moment the city announces a job opening and the moment that that job opening is filled. There is little concern about how long a laid-off employee is out of work, but perhaps we can generate some concern about how long an advertised position goes unfilled. We can start by simply documenting the days a posted job goes unfilled. The Department of Information Technology, working with the Finance Department, can develop an algorithm whereby we can receive a quarterly report by designated categories showing the fiscal impact upon our city attributable to such occupational opportunity loss. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. Deacon Casey Cameron?
Deacon Casey Cameron, former chairman deacon of Live Life Tabernacle Praise, current with First Congregation. I'm in support of the Vine City Park, but I'm also really ticked off about the flooding in Vine City. It's really ridiculous. And we actually, last time I was down here, I was talking about calling a news meeting. That is in effect. That was not a threat. That was a promise. 80,000 women and children is homeless in this city. And there's a lot of abandoned houses and apartments in this city. But yet, the city seems to do nothing for the homeless. That was a question was raised yesterday. Why is there so many homeless in the city? One, because the city is not really trying to do anything make low-income houses for these people. Affordable houses, yes. Low-income, no. And there's also talks about closing one of the largest shelters in the city. There's no concern about where you're going to put them at. My suggestion is, if you don't find them a job, low-income job where they can help themselves, just like I'm on this committee now at the church called the Task Force for the Homeless. I'm the chair of that committee. And just as I was saying to the church, let's be a help up than a handout. And I'm inviting you all to make a difference. At least get a family off the streets. Work somehow to get low-income houses in this city. It's ridiculous. And you have people come down here and say, let's get rid of the homeless. But it was one of your family members that was homeless. You would hurry up and do something.
Thank you, Mr. Cameron. The next three speakers are D. Gordon Draves, Shalimar Parham, and Rodney Mullins.
Hello, Council. My name is Gordon Draves. I'm president of Georgians Against Smoking Pollution, and I come in support of the smoke-free parks ordinance. Outdoor areas throughout the United States are going smoke-free. Gillette Field in Foxborough, Massachusetts will be smoke-free soon. For Patriots games, they are Johnny-come-latelys compared to Atlanta. Around 19 years ago, my girlfriend Debbie and I testified before the Atlanta Stadium Authority about smoking in the stands at Braves games. She was affected by the smoke, especially the cigar smoke of people smoking around us in the stands. The authority established a no smoking section of about 120 seats above the dugouts. That was very, very good. We enjoyed the games from then on. I am concerned that, later they made all the seats no smoking, and that was even much more marvelous. Anyway, later they made I am concerned that by exempting Chastain Park, that smoking may be allowed in the seating. I hope that is not true. I hope the smoking is not allowed there right now. I haven't been there for years, so I don't know the situation, though. Of course, remember the children in doing this ordinance to prohibit smoking in parks and such for their health, but don't forget the elderly and those with lung problems. Like you had the proclamation about the disabilities, there are people with severe lung problems. I thank you very much for considering this ordinance, and I hope you will ban smoking in parks. Thank you.
Thank you. Shalimar Parham.
Mr. President of the Atlanta City Council, members of the City Council, my name is Shalimar Parham. I'm an Atlanta attorney that has, over the last several months, been working with Atlanta West Economic Development and Rodney Mullins. I've been proud to volunteer in the Vine City and English Avenue community. Through my time as a volunteer, I've been excited to be working towards a positive change. Coincidentally, one of the first meetings that I attended, community meetings that I attended through my volunteer work, was one hosted by Rodney Mims Cook, where he spoke to the community and the business owners about Mims Park. At that meeting, I immediately saw the energy that was excited for a project that would leave a large and positive impact on the community. Since then, I've been a part of other community and business training meetings. I've had the opportunity to speak to business owners and develop a relationship with them. And what resonates with me the most is that they are ready, they're excited, and they want a project that will leave a positive change in the community. I've noticed that no matter whether they've been there for a few years or if they've been there for more than 15 years, they're all proud to be in the community. They're all proud of it, and they all believe that the community deserves to be beautiful and economically viable. And that's what Mims Park will do for the community. Mims Park will immediately beautify the area with the green space, with the soccer field, with the lake, and with the play areas. It'll be a stimulus to the economy by bringing in new businesses. With new businesses, we have new jobs. And with the beautification and the economic stimulus to the area, you'll also attract a new demographic to the area. You'll have a new demographic that will want to live in a beautiful area that is filled with history and character. So I ask that you vote yes in support of Mims Park. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parham. Mr. Rodney Mullins.
President Mitchell and Council for the City of Atlanta, please allow the land to speak. This land that we are discussing was once a line of demarcation, a boundary, a barrier that divided groups of people. Now this land has a chance to be a bridge for opportunities for our young people, to connect them to technology, to connect them to knowledge, to connect them to economic opportunities. That is the opportunity that you have today, to transform one of the dividing lines. Joseph E. Boone, which was formerly Simpson Avenue, used to be a dividing line in our community. Now this will be a place that will bring together people and children from across the community. Rodney Mims Cook and the National Monument Foundation has engaged the community on a number of occasions. And they have come to the community and allowed the community to be involved in this entire process to build what we believe will be a catalytic economic stimulus for the community. As a leader of Atlanta West Economic Development and one of the leaders that are preparing to transform the area into a community improvement district, I'm excited about this. We have endorsed this initiative, and I request that you be a part of this initiative and that you vote yes on transforming this land into a productive piece of property, because we know that this land has the opportunity to generate productivity in the form of knowledge, in the form of economics, and in the form of opportunities for our young people, whether they be white, black, or brown. And that is the beauty of this project. It reflects the diversity of Atlanta, and that's the Atlanta that we want to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mullins. The next three speakers are Pastor Johnson, Ms. Makeda Johnson, and Brother Anthony Muhammad.
Greetings. My name is Dexter Johnson. I'm the senior pastor of the Higher Ground Empowerment Center in the historic Vine City, formerly Mount Gilead Baptist Church. I pastored there for the last 19 years. In fact, I'm 49 years old, and I've been a member of one church, and it's the church that I now pastor. I've served in the community to know that many people have opinions about Vine City, but Vine City is a strong community. We have come together and we have more going for us than we have going against us. In 2002, we stuck together as a family, and we saw that our residents be made whole again from the flood of the sewage that backed up in their homes. We stuck together in 2008 to make sure that the residents were made whole again. And we are here today representing as the chairman of the Vine City Civic Association to let you know that the National Foundation did come with us. We did have many charrettes, many meetings within the community. It was in October of 2011 that we had a meeting there at our church where the presentation in 3D of how the park would look was presented. It was voted on, and a letter was sent to our councilman to let him know that the Civic Association does give support. We do understand that many times people don't like to come to meetings for various reasons, so we've taken it to the street. And we've allowed some of our board members to take it by laptop to present it to some of the elderly residents and our working residents so they would be able to see what is coming into their community. I have in my possession some of the signed letters of support from those residents. We've given them many of the covenants, and those covenants have been agreed to. We're just asking that as you vote on it, that you will make an agreement that we will still continue to have community engagement.
Thank you, Pastor.
And everything else.
Thank you, Pastor. Ms. Makeda Johnson.
Greeting, Council President, Council members. My name is Makeda Johnson. I'm a 25-year resident of Vine City, a community servant. And I'm very excited about this opportunity that we have. We worked a year and a half with hardcore negotiations, ensuring that everybody was engaged in the process who wanted to be engaged in the process. And those who were not able, as Reverend Johnson said, we went door to door and talked with them and allowed them to see the video. This is a new day, and our people and our community needs change. I looked at the census report for 2010, and it was very sad for our community. We're losing people. We're losing nesters. We're losing children. People are not choosing our community to raise their children, which has an impact on our schools. The Mims Park is a catalyst for change and reconciliation, and I ask that you support us in that endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Brother Muhammad.
Shalala ilallah, shalala ilaha Muhammadu Rasulullah, Bismillah, Rahman Rahim. I bear witness, none deserve to be served or worship beside the one God, Allah. I bear witness, I bear the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the true servant and last apostle, and Minister Louis Farrakhan. Here's his reminder. I want to make this very clear and to the point. I don't live in Vine City. I don't live in English Avenue. I live in Ben Hill. But my people crying out for help for years, even since 2002 when Shirley Franklin was the president. We had to flood and all on the television. But yet we don't have the Beltline project to build dog trails, any kind of other kind of trails, bicycle trails. We don't have, recently, I was at the Community Development Human Resource Committee under the leadership of Ms. Shepherd, and we talk about the Liver Centers Initiative. We don't spend up to $200 million at this point. We spent $1 million for just people going over the vet to see what they're going to do the next projects. We got 18 projects that we spent $28 million for, but yet we got to come down here and listen to the news or hear the news saying people suffered flooding this past week. Flooding with all kind of filth. Children suffering. People suffering. I hear preachers come in here to talk about, well, we thank Mr. Mims for being able to give us this money. We'll be able to get this park and get green space. But is it going to alleviate the problem of the flooding today? Why can't we do something today? You got the majority member, 11 black ones, sit on this council. My people done died and go upside and get beat upside the head by the people that going to have the statues out there. Even with that being known today, why is it that we got to continue to suffer? Why? You got the right to say be and what could begin tomorrow to alleviate the flooding. Why don't you say it? Why don't you stand up? Now, whatever good white folks want to do something good for us, I thank them for that. Because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said we seek truth and justice. And Minister Louis Farrakhan said, what is trouble in America? Good people with good mind need to come together and say, B, let's stop this wrong going on against black people here in Atlanta. I greet you as I come. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Brother Muhammad. The next three speakers are Mr. Dwayne Blocker, Mr. Ken Britt, and Mr. Ron Shakir.
My name is Dwayne E. Blocker, Sr., and as a citizen of the United States of America, I, along with a plethora of citizens and tourists, have been the victims of egregious actions committed by the Atlanta City Police officers and the Atlanta Downtown Improvement District. Over the past 2 years, Ambassador Force employees have been exercising police powers over citizens visiting Woodruff Park with oppressive acts aimed primarily at the homeless citizens and have unjustly enforced rules created by their corporation who lack federal and/or state constitutional authority. Consequently, they violated the unalienable rights of countless citizens in the execution of these duplicitous powers and intensified their tyrannical authority over the last 2 months as a result of my inquisition to the legality of their authority. In assisting the Ambassador Force employees in perpetrating their fraudulent authority over citizens visiting Woodruff Park, multiple Atlanta City Police officers abused their office by making false arrests, enforcing rules created by the ADID, and orders or demands given by the Ambassador Force employees. Because I refused to submit to these tyrannical authorities, and in an effort to intimidate and punish me for exposing these unconstitutional acts to the people, I was falsely arrested, kidnapped, and falsely imprisoned 3 times since June 1st, 2012 for sitting at a table and watching a game of chess because it allegedly violated ADID rules. These unconstitutional arrests were committed by officers Jay Wolford and Kenneth Thomas, whom then falsified the official citations and police reports in order to establish subject matter jurisdiction for the courts. Officer Thomas was so arrogant in the violation of his oath of office that he boasted before the countless citizens that if the city wanted to pay for his illegal actions, then so be it. These false arrests were supervised and approved by their respective superiors, Sergeant Hill and Sergeant Straught. Recognizing the idiocy of the nature and cause for these prosecutions, 2 of them were dismissed while the 3rd was literally abandoned by the court. The tyrannical authority performed by the ADID and Atlanta City Police officers was so shocking to the consciousness of myself and the respective aggrieved citizens that we were literally mentally, physically, and emotionally thrust back to an oppressive environment of the Jim Crow era. The actions committed by the ADID and Atlanta City Police officers were extremely unprofessional and outright deplorable, and which are too outrageous to ignore. I have prepared a detailed letter concerning these crimes committed against me and the other citizens involved during these periods.
Thank you, Mr. Block. Your time has expired. Thank you, though. The next speaker is Mr. Ken Britt.
Good afternoon, City Council members. My name is Ken Britt. I'm an Atlanta resident and candidate for the Georgia State House of Representatives from District 56, which includes the Vine City neighborhood. I'm here today to offer my support and to ask you to approve the Finance Committee's recommendation that will allow the creation of this proposed historic Mims Park. It is my belief that this project will help create jobs for local citizens, stimulate community revitalization, boost economic development, foster the creation of affordable housing, and attract new residents to the area. This unique opportunity will improve our city and District 56 and would be transformative for the community. I strongly encourage you as City Council members to vote in favor of this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Britt. Mr. Shakir.
Ron Shakir, Southwest Atlanta. This is a matter of Vine City and English Avenue. We have representation coming from Vine City for Mr. Young. And Mr. Young tried to make us think that this is a Vine City situation. Well, it's deeper than just Vine City. It's all neighborhoods. Mr. Young, you may not be aware, but in your district and in the Board of Education district, it was 3, 4, 5 schools that were standing up fighting for their life. Kindergarten. Children today do not know yet what the transportational route would be. The fact is that you were nowhere the question of education until the midnight hour. But for sure, when you look at the housing situation, the smelling of mold and mildew when you ride down, not just streets in Vine City, English Avenue area, but on Cascade too. All over this city, we have infrastructure situations that we have to deal with. And now we want to deal with a 50 million, 13, 14-acre park. It doesn't fit into the priority. The fact is that we have transportation issues that's been cut back in communities all over this city. And we're going to deal with statues of 80 feet tall. No, we have a record in this city, Mr. Young. We have $200 million have been squandered, you said, through this here neighborhoods. Well, now, what happened to Mark? What happened to Publix? What happened to the school, the environmental dangers that we have to deal with in this city? And you're going to have time to address in a year and a half? The mayor just got here and he's going to go over, and you're going to go over to England and bring an England developer? Mr. Young, I say to you, won't you use your time in leadership to learn from the voices of these communities? You have people and neighbors in this community who shouldn't be opposing each other. They should be at the table and finding out what's best. And the biggest problem that we have in here that we're rushing into is the historical interpretation that you're imposing upon this here community. This is the city where the the Trail of Tears was part of Georgia history. And we should not have tears of African Americans being locked out of their communities because of projects that they weren't even at the table with.
Shakir. I'm going to say it one more time. Please do not applaud. No applause. Please. It is not allowed by our rules, and I'm asking you very politely and very kindly and with deference, do not applaud. The next 3 speakers are Mr. Joe Beasley, Mr. David Wardell, and I cannot read the name, but I believe it is Avery, I believe. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. Mr. Beasley.
President, other members of council, I think one of the things that I want to talk about have not been spoken to yet. English Avenue and Vine City is being yet again gentrified. And the people that live in Vine City now, unfortunately, once Mills Park is built, you won't be there because there's a larger scheme and plan. It could be a Bond Park, it could be a Boone Park, it could be a Bolden Park, but certainly not a Mims Park. Mims was a Confederate soldier. We don't need that ugliness in that community. The idea that Mr. Mims, you know, he owned people that look like you all. And I didn't talk favorably about Mr. Mims. I'm talking about a shepherd, a black wench will fetch $10 or whatever the case may be as a slave. This is a serious situation. It's about race, and people that want to deny and say it's not about race don't know what they're talking about. And so this notion of having someone who was a mayor of Atlanta 100 years ago, whatever it was, the fact of the matter, he was a Confederate soldier. And he was against what Atlanta is supposed to stand for. And so the notion of coming to say, a Mims Park? Who've heard of Mims? And I'm ashamed of you, Councilman Young, that you would even bring this kind of foolishness before this city. And so I would hope that you would rethink this whole notion. It's about race. It won't be long till y'all going to be gone. Because there's been a decision made to re-gentrify Atlanta. Now, this is proof positive. Used to be a 70% African-American town. They said got too many poor black people here, so they're moving them out. So this Mims Park, and I heard the community saying in the committee meeting that, well, it's free. The old folks would tell you a long time ago, if they say you're getting something for nothing, better watch out. Mims Park, no.
Thank you, Mr. Beasley. Mr. Wardell.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of council. My name is David Wardell, Vice President of Operations and Public Safety for Central Atlanta Progress, the Atlanta Downtown Improvement District. I'm here to speak on the prohibiting smoking in parks in the city of Atlanta. I'm here particularly about Woodruff Park, which we partner with the city on. Downtown's 200,000 daily constituents, not counting the first 100 or 2,000 convention visitors we have, not to mention the some 27,000 residents we have in downtown. We cherish and value very much our green space downtown, from the small pocket parks to smaller parks, and of course to Woodruff Park. These are all critical to us, and we enjoy them on a daily basis. This ordinance is important to us because, first of all, for health reasons, Woodruff Park is a 6-acre downtown icon park, which at any one time may have 200 people visiting the park and has some 4,500 students transiting park in peak periods, which will increase this fall since the GSU has occupied the old SunTrust Tower, which will keep more movement in the area. We have many programs in the park. We now have an exercise area, and tomorrow we dedicate a new playground in the park. It's currently by policy not to have any smoking within 100 feet of a recreation area or an exercise area, but that's policy, which is hard to enforce. Woodruff Park is staffed. We can enforce the rules which are codified by you, and we would also be very glad to assist in enforcing the ordinance throughout the downtown improvement district parks. We applaud you on this effort. The maintenance issues concerns, of course, passing around a photo I passed around last week shows one shift's worth of cigarette butts, which is about a gallon box, and all those butts are, of course, loaded with carcinogens and very unsightly, and those are the ones we pick up, not to mention the ones that go into our drains. So we think this is a good ordinance. It serves to the betterment of the downtown, and we thank you, and again, we applaud you for it. We ask that you pass it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wardell. The next speaker, and my apologies if I'm mispronouncing this name, is, I believe, Mary Avery. Well, I have Carrie Salvery I see next, but I may be mispronouncing your name. And please correct me when you come to the mic, ma'am.
It's Avery.
Avery.
Yes.
Okay.
I've been kind of sitting around and listening to everybody and what they have to say about the park. Some of these people I've heard on the radio speak, and this is my first time realizing who they really are. And I'm a graduate of Tuskegee University, and Booker T. Washington, George Washington Carver, all of these people are important, Du Bois, and also the Indian statue. And sometimes I wonder, what do we omit people as a part of our history, or do we include people as a part of our history? And that way everybody can enjoy what it means to live in this country. And unless we come together and do this for generations to follow us, then we all going to lose out. You know, we live in this country together. And I think the exposure is necessary. And I thank all of you, councilmen and council ladies who voted for this. But I ask that we think about what we're doing. Think about what it means to future generations, so we don't have to say, well, our people don't know their history. You know, it's up to us to decide, you know, what that history is, and be truthful, you know, and make sure that everybody is included. Because this is America, whether we want it or not, or we like it or not. You know, we are all a part of this, and we are all important. So the only thing that I ask, and I'm a little bit nervous, is that we understand our history, we support our history, and we include our history.
Thank you very much, Ms. Avery. The next three speakers are Ms. Carrie Salvery, Ms. Yvonne Jones, and Ms. Walvella Bell King.
Okay, my name is Carrie Salvery. I live at 556 Tyler Street, which is 1 block east of the proposed Mims Park. And I have for you today a survey that was done over the weekend, of which we asked 100 people in English Avenue in Vine City to respond to the survey with regards to Mims Park. And I would like to present it to you for your consideration.
Lamar, if you don't mind. Thank you, Mr. Andrews.
I have also with me today Ms. Marsha Swanson. She's one of my neighbors at Tyler Place, and we have a request of you today. First of all, we as Tyler Place homeowners submitted a 2-page letter to the Atlanta City Council with regards to some of our concerns about Mims Park. We submitted it to you by email, and I subsequently hand-delivered it to you and asked your staff to sign for it. So I hope that you would take under consideration the things that we said in that letter. We would also like to add today that we are asking the Atlanta City Council and the mayor of the city of Atlanta to exercise its due diligence in assuring that the proper mitigation of the environmental and the flood impacts on 8.4 acres of land that's slated in a lease to the National Monuments Foundation, that we have the proper flood mitigation on that land. As Mr. Reverend Fletcher said when he came up here, we did have a flood on July 12th. And the Watershed Management Department indicated that they had made those mitigations. They did not. We're also asking for the adequate protection of the citizens, of the homeowners at Tyler Place, because we feel that we are going to be adversely impacted by this particular park. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Salvery. The next speaker is Ms. Jones.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Yvonne Jones. I live at 388 Griffin Street in English Avenue. I am the NPUL chair, and I come before you today to ask you to send this back to committee, because I don't think that the committee has had an ample opportunity to have a working session on this issue. I'm not even sure if all you guys could say that you have enough information on this park and on the things that are being presented to you to really come up with a conclusive vote today. And it would also give us an opportunity for us as a community to re-engage ourselves with the whole park process. I've heard several residents get up and say that the park has been vetted in the community and that there were several charrettes and so forth, and I'm sure that that's true. However, the question is who was participated in the charrettes and who were there, and it was an exclusive process. I will tell you that the majority of the community, they just weren't a part. And I can say for myself, as the land use and zoning chair at the time of the NPU, I was not included in the process, and it was a land use. And so that was just indicative of the fact that many of the community members were not able to participate. And so if it had been giving an opportunity to have a more inclusive process, I believe that we would not be in the community would not be in a divided state right now, and it would be we would have had all these things worked out. I have no doubt that that there are things that that the community, other people in the community would have brought forth, and it would have worked out. And if everything that you want doesn't work out, that you will have a chance to work it out. But I will say that what we are asking for is the renaming of the park. Some of the things we're asking for the Martin Luther King statue. Yeah, I understand, brother. And also, we're asking for
thank you very much.
that sewer mitigation.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jones.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jones.
Thank you as well.
Thank you very much.
But there are so many things to say.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jones. There must be something in the air today. Well, let's be free, but let's also be respectful. All right. Next speaker is Ms. Walvella Bell-King.
Madam President and the City Council, I come in representation of Learn to Grow and the Heart Coalition with the excellent leadership of Vincent Vandergriff. I am here to speak on the smoke-free policy ordinance that you're all about to pass, I hope, today. And I want to say to everyone in here, do we all know that everyone has the right to self-destruction? Okay, and when you start talking about self-destruction, we're here today, you know, talking about a lot of issues, but for me, each one of us in the room have been affected by someone who smokes and how it has affected their lives. For their health, lung cancer, heart disease, the #1 killer, heart disease when smoking. But when we start talking about self-destruction, if I'm at a park with my kids, and I'm coming to you as a parent as well, and I'm around people that are smoking, so if they want to smoke and hurt themselves, why should I be a part of that? Why should my children be a part of that? So I'm coming to you today just to ask if you would consider our lives, especially those that are here in the city of Atlanta that are going to the parks. And then back in the day, people would just go to the park, they'd do a little swimming. But you all are investing a lot of funding in the parks. If anybody drive around the city of Atlanta, you'll see the parks, they really look really good. They got the sprinklers going on out there. You can go out there and be with your family and just really enjoy yourself. But if I look up and somebody's smoking, and we're dealing with a lot of issues of asthma when you start talking about our kids, and okay, I'm finished. God bless.
Thank you.
Do the right thing.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bell-King. The next 3 speakers are Jalen Coleman, Nicole Brown, and Cantrell Foster.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Jalen Coleman. I'm a rising sophomore at Woodward Academy. I'm with the group Learn to Grow, and I'm against the smoking in parks ordinance. Growing up, I was always told, get up off the couch, go outside to the park, and enjoy some fresh air. But nowadays, in my generation, that's not possible. Fresh air is not something that is as in abundance to in the parks. Every day I walk down to the parks, I see people smoking cigarette butts lying around the ground. I have to watch my dog make sure he does not pick those up. And that is just a shame that kids my age cannot go to the parks without being exposed to carcinogens due to tobacco smoke. I would like smoking in parks to be banned, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. Nicole Brown.
Hey, how are you? I'm Nicole Brown. I came to speak on behalf of the Heart Coalition about smoking in the park. I stayed next to a park, Deerwood Park, and I enjoy the park, but I have asthma. My daughters have asthma, and I believe my dog do too, it looks like, because he kind of... But, I mean, it's hard to enjoy yourself at the park when you have people smoking. You have cigarette butts on the ground. I have my nephew. He's picking them up, putting them in his mouth. You know, they ingest this stuff. Now, it's okay if you would like to do that, but don't push it on us, too, you know, because, like she said, the parks are beautiful, and you should be able to go and enjoy it. But you have to respect you have to respect the park, because it's to enjoy and it's for children, but it's no respect there. I can understand if the butts was in a trash can, because there's trash cans all over the park. But if you would go, you would see butts all over the ground, and it's just, it's unsanitary, So if they would just pass the bill about the smoking, you passed it for the schools, there's children at schools, so the park bring the children. So if you passed it for the schools, you should also, I feel, you should pass it for the parks, because that's where our babies are. Not only us, but our babies, as he said, our pets. Everybody don't want that for their children and pets. So if you just think hard on it, and if you just go to the park and look around yourself, y'all, like she said, you're investing a whole lot of money beautifying the parks for the children, but they really can't enjoy it like that properly with all the paraphernalia on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next speaker is Cantrell Foster.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Wonderful.
My name is Cantrell Foster, and I'm with the Heart Coalition under the leadership of the Honorable Vincent Vandergriff. He's right there. I feel like the ordinance with smoke-free parks should be passed, not only because it harms me, but because this is a concern of the public health. If we say we love the public, if we say we're for the public, then why not pass this ordinance? I feel like if signs say clean air, then smoke-free environments should be made possible. Kids, little lungs at play are affected. Everything that is wanted is a priority, but not everything needed. And not only secondhand smoke is dangerous to me, but people who do smoke can have heart disease, lung cancer, and other medical conditions. So please think about it, be considerable about it, and just have it on your mind. And if you don't pass this, then I don't know how you're going to sleep tonight.
All right. The next speakers are Joseph Cole, Renita Kelly, I'm not sure if I got the first name correct, and then Nikotana Gilliam.
Good afternoon. My name is Joseph Cole. I'm a part of 14 County Learn to Grow and Heart Coalition. I'm here to speak on behalf of the banning smoking in the parks. I would like to ban this because, it just harms everyone. If you decide to smoke, that's your choice. Let that harm you, and just let that harm you. Keep that to yourself. But in the parks, that's where kids play. Take my sister to the park. She's on the jungle gym, but while she's have to worry about having fun, she also have to worry about catching lung cancer, ear infection, all these other effects just because of the secondhand smoke. And it's not fair because she does not smoke. She's on the floor. So why should she be affected by smoking? And she has no part of it. And I would just like to just hope that you really go through with this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Kelly.
Good afternoon, members of council. My name is Renita Kelly. I'm here in part for Learn to Grow in the Heart Coalition. This ordinance is very important on banning smoking in the park, the community. Just a little bit of information and background. Tobacco use is the most preventable cause of death in the United States. Exposure to secondhand smoke causes lung cancer and heart disease, as well as ear infection and severe asthma in children. Parents are role models for youth and can make a positive effect on the lifestyle choices. Prohibiting tobacco use in our community parks and recreation facilities protects the health, safety, and welfare of everyone in the community. Last, let's pass this ordinance, no smoking in the park.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Ms. Gilliam.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Nikotana Gilliam, and I'm in favor of this ordinance, this smoke-free ordinance, because I have kids that have asthma. I'm here in representation of Learn to Grow Heart Coalition,
who's led by Mr. Vandergrift, and we have over 30 people here that's also in favor of the same ordinance, and they send back their representation with us. But just to be real for a minute, I'm not sure if everybody up here is parents, but, you know, us as grown people, we'll sit around in a park or whatever, and just the stench of the smoke getting into our nose, it's very uncomfortable. Just the thought of your child sitting down playing with the little wood chips or whatever and look down and they got cigarette butts and spitting tobacco. I mean, it don't necessarily just have to be the smoke. It can be the tobacco that they spit in the ground. I mean, it just tease you out because you're like, now I wonder who was sitting over here near the swing smoking. I mean, if y'all can just at least consider it, because I have asthma now. I wasn't born with it, but you know, over the years of you having a parent that smokes in the car, I can't tell my mom, put that out. You know, she's gonna say, get out my car. But I developed asthma, you know, just by being around tobacco smoke. So for us to save our kids, I feel like this ordinance really should be passed. We're not trying to step on those toes who do smoke. We're not even asking y'all not to smoke. We're just saying not in the parks. We're not trying to tell you what to eat. I was here on Tuesday and it was like, got kind of crazy. Where they were saying that we was trying to tell them what to eat, what to smoke. We're not doing that. We didn't say ban cigarettes from the store. We just simply said tobacco from the parks in our kids' area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next three speakers are Lance Irvin, James Arpad, and Hoban McCleeter. My apologies for mispronouncing that name. Please give us your correct name when you come forward. Mr. Irvin.
Good afternoon. My name is Lance Irvin, and I'm a lifelong resident of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a graduate of Morehouse College, and I'm currently the physical education teacher at A. Magnus Jones Elementary School, located at 1045th Street in the West End community. I spend a great deal of time in the West End community with my students, their parents, and other community leaders who are involved with our school. Mims Park will be a welcome addition to the community. In the West End community, we're looking for opportunities for new jobs, beautification of blighted areas, and more green space for our kids and their families to get together. This proposed park would move us forward on all three of these goals. I think it is totally unfair to my students who live in this community and to their parents who I work with every day and are overwhelmingly in support of this project that we could lose the investment because of a few and a vocal minority purport to speak for the community even though they don't actually represent the views of the entire community. I don't want to see our community lose such generous investment of resources that would in many ways improve the condition of the West End community. I believe this project is a worthy and welcome addition to our community. I hope that City Council will support it and pass this legislation that permits the Mims Park project to go forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Irvin. Mr. Arpad.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is James Arpad, and I am here in enthusiastic support of the Mims Park project, and I hope that all of you will voice your support for it as well. I have been an investor and a house renovator for the last 10 years in the English Avenue and Vine City neighborhoods, and I have spent every day for the last 10 years in that neighborhood helping to improve my properties, the properties around me, serving with land use committees, and I must say that with everything that Mr. Mims has brought to the table here, that we deserve to have this park for the neighborhood. This green space sits on the original Wackendorf estate properties, why this neighborhood was named Vine City, and my partner and I purchased the remnants of the Wackendorf estate to save it for future posterity, and it's only building that predates the Civil War on the west side of Atlanta. So this is a big picture for the neighborhood. It's improvement on an economic basis. It's improvement on a basis to get rid of the blight that we've been living with for so many years around there. And I do believe that the neighborhood has vetted this, that anybody who is interested in participating has, that the naysayers who are here do not speak for the community as a whole, and that I would like to see the museum become a reality to educate our future generations, much the way that the Millennium Gate now educates students from all across America on the history of Georgia. The value of our posterity from the civil rights movement going back to when the Wackendorf family was there needs to be preserved and spread. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Arpad. The next speaker is Hobain McLeanter. And I apologize if I've mispronounced your name. Please enlighten me when you come to the microphone.
My name is Jobias McLester. I come in support of the tobacco-free policy. I just want to talk about a couple of points right quick. I feel like we shouldn't have the smoking in the park, for one, because the secondhand smoke is really affecting the kids. On the average in Georgia, we have about 10,000 people die a year from smoking and about 1,500 from secondhand smoking. I think those numbers are extremely too high for people who don't smoke, and for those to be affected by that, I think that's very alarming. I think we need to do something about it and take action. I really feel like we should pass this bill. It'll really help out a lot in the parks, and it'll help get the community back together, because we don't need all of the kids walking around with asthma problems, breathing problems, catching pneumonia, earaches, and things like that, and just affecting them and their health. Our elders as well. We want our parks to be able to be a place where we can go and have a good time, have family reunions, cookouts, everybody come out and enjoy themselves. We don't want to come to a small infested area where we can't really enjoy ourselves. So I just leave on that note, and I just hope you all pass this for us. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. McLester. The next two speakers, the final two speakers, are DeShonda Smar and former council member Abel Mabel Thomas. Ms. Smar.
Good afternoon. I am DeShonda Smart speaking on the behalf of myself as a citizen of the Fulton County and a member of the Learn to Grow Health Coalition's youth. I'll start by saying we are not trying to offend anyone in no type of way or telling anyone to harm them or the people around them. We also aren't asking them anything to stop them from smoking completely. However, we just don't want their negative decisions to affect the positive health of the youth in our parks. So I come to you as a 15-year-old youth of Learn to Grow, asking for you to pass the ordinance of the no smoking in parks. And I also have some facts of tobacco use if anyone wants to see how they affect us in any type of way.
We'd love to have them. Thank you very much, Ms. Smar. And the final speaker is former council member Abel Mabel Thomas.
First, giving honor to God as the leader of my life. It's a blessing to be with you. I come down here, not much, but when I do come down, I come down for purpose. What I would like to say is to commend the council members, specifically those that represent our area, District 1, 2, 3, 4, as well as those who are very interested in our area. Now, what I want to say is that I really come today as sort of as a bridge builder, because really what you see is anytime you see different people from an area that's small as English Avenue and Vine City is, and you don't have agreement, that means that something has not been vetted out. There's something still missing. And if you also look at the dynamics of it, you can see there are very few people from English Avenue who have spoken, who have been here, okay, because I put it like this. I do commend organizations, so I like the fact that the people organize and brought shirts, because that's what you have to do, organize yourself. But the reality of it is that the MPU chair did come and say, for it to be slowed down, for it to go back to committee. And usually, sometime, even though the MPU is not the final word. It is advisory. It has not been gone before the NPU. It has not had a vote by the NPU. The English Avenue Neighborhood Association, which I'm a part of, has not taken a formal position on it. I myself, I like the idea of maybe having a park at that site. Not necessarily, I don't know all the dynamics, and I've seen the presentations with MIMS, but obviously I think a project, a $55 million project, has implications far beyond just English Avenue and Vine City. So what I would like to do is appeal to Ivory. I know that, sometime in politics we have the votes to do something, and you can go ahead and push it through. But what would be the result if it's pushed through in a situation when the community is divided and we keep being divided and people keep saying we are this way and that way? I also want to say, Ivory, somewhere or another this thing got political, which all things do sometimes. Because I understand that the guy who's in the race with me just came up and he took a position on it. And I thought that was interesting when we'd never seen him in our entire life. And then at the same time, he had not talked to the NPU. So I say to you that, yes, I'm a person that's in a race for public office, but I came here to see Miss Sadie Gaines and to be a part of that celebration. But once I understood what was going on, I felt it was necessary for me, as a person in the community that knows both sides and is the most known person in Vine City and English Avenue, that I say to you, please, let's slow this train up just a little bit, and let's have a work session. Give equal time for the people in both sides of the community as well as other people outside of Atlanta who will be a part of this tourist situation, and not just go on the day if you got the votes. Ivory, I'm talking to you. I need you. You help me. I'm not trying to say you're not anybody who didn't help me. You help me. But I'm telling you, on this issue, it's going to tear the neighborhood up. It's already tearing the neighborhood up. Anytime, it got to be slowed down. Otherwise, what it is, you'll get it. But what'll happen coming out of it will make everybody not be as happy. And what we're trying to do is have a level of development in our community. And you told me, Ira, you want to have a more comprehensive look, and that's what we want to do. We want to have a comprehensive look at the projects that's in English Avenue, projects in Vine City. Let's see what we can do. ADA had a proposal out. We hope that proposal will be rebid. So we really will have a Vine City on English Avenue and an NPUL that we love, that we trust, and that we feel comfortable about it. I'm Mabel Thomas. I've served in this body, so I know the tough decisions that you have to make, but I'm telling you, this thing has moved to another level. Please, let us slow this thing down. Send it back to committee. Let's do a work session on it, and I guarantee you that if you come back and we get back together, it won't be the hollering match, because I understand the meeting that you had was sort of like a hollering match going back and forth, and now it's at this level, and now these people on this side, we all even sitting in different sides. The people on that side say they for it, and the people on this side say they're not. That's crazy. It's just a small neighborhood. And the fact that somebody, a person, candidate running for office would come in and chime in on it, let you know they're willing to tear the whole thing up. I'm not willing to tear Vine City English Avenue up for a project. Let's stand together. Let's see if this project can be a part of a comprehensive project for both neighborhoods. I am Mabel Thomas, and I'm going to take care of that guy on the 31st.
Thank you, Councilmember Thomas. That brings us to the end of our public comment. We will now move to item number 7 on the agenda, which is the report of the Journal.
I, Rhonda Dauphin-Johnson, Municipal Clerk, do hereby report to the Council that the action minutes of the regular meeting of the Atlanta City Council held July 2nd, 2012 are true and correct.
Okay, if there's no objection, we will file that report. Let's move to communications.
The first item, 12-C-0973. Dear President Mitchell and members of the Council, it is my pleasure to appoint Labria D. Lee to serve as a member of the Atlanta Citizen Review Board on behalf of the City of Atlanta. Ms. Lee is a resident of the City of Atlanta and willing to serve in this capacity. This appointment is for a term of 3 years to begin on the date of Council confirmation. Based on her experience and commitment to the community, I'm confident that Ms. Lee will serve the City of Atlanta and the Atlanta Citizen Review Board with integrity and dedication. A copy of her qualifications is attached for your review. Sincerely, Kasim Reed.
Okay, we will refer that item to the Public Safety Committee and to Committee on Council.
The next two items, 12-C-0974 and 12-C-0975, read, Dear President Mitchell and members of the Council, it is my pleasure to appoint Malika Berry and Shelley Centerfit to serve as members of the Atlanta Commission on Women on behalf of the City of Atlanta. Both Ms. Berry and Ms. Centerfit are residents of the City of Atlanta and are willing to serve in this capacity. These appointments are for terms of 2 years each, to begin on the date of council confirmation. Based on the experience and commitment to the community that both have shown, I am confident that Ms. Berry and Ms. Centerfit will serve the City of Atlanta and the Atlanta Commission on Women with integrity and dedication. A copy of the qualifications of each proposed member is attached for your review.
Okay, we will refer this item to the Committee on Council.
The next, 12-C-0976. Dear President Mitchell and members of the council, it is a pleasure to appoint Paul E. Vranikar to serve as a member of the Atlanta-Fulton County and Recreation Authority Board on behalf of the City of Atlanta. Mr. Vranikar is a resident of the city and is willing to serve in this capacity. This appointment is for a term of 4 years to begin on the date of council confirmation. Based on his experience and commitment to the community, I'm confident that Mr. Vranikar will serve the City of Atlanta and the Atlanta-Fulton County and Recreation Authority Board with integrity and dedication. A copy of his qualifications is attached for your review. Sincerely, Kasim Reed.
Okay, let's refer this item to Community Development, Human Resources, and Committee on Council.
12-C-0977. Dear President Mitchell and members of the council, it is my pleasure to appoint Ian Labatou to serve as a member of the Civil Service Board on behalf of the City of Atlanta to replace the expired term of Bartlett H. Hargo. Mr. Labatou is a resident of the City of Atlanta and willing to serve in this capacity. This appointment is for a term of 3 years to begin on the date of council confirmation. Based on his experience and commitment to the community, I'm confident that Mr. Labatou will serve the City of Atlanta and the Civil Service Board with integrity and dedication. A copy of his qualifications is attached for your review. Sincerely, Kasim Reed.
Okay, we'll send this item to Finance, Exec, and Committee on Council.
The next item, 12-C-0978. Dear President Mitchell and members of the council, it is my pleasure to appoint Asha Palmer to serve as a member of the Civil Service Board on behalf of the City of Atlanta to replace the expired term of Hazel Jacobs. Mrs. Palmer is a resident of the City of Atlanta and willing to serve in this capacity. This appointment is for a term of 3 years to begin on the date of council confirmation. Based on her experience and commitment to the community, I'm confident that Asha Palmer will serve the City of Atlanta and the Civil Service Board with integrity and dedication. A copy of her qualifications is attached for your review.
Okay, let's send this item to Finance, Exec, and Committee on Council, and if you could read the next 2 items together.
Okay, I'll try to merge them. The next items, 12-C-0979 and 0980. Dear President Mitchell and members of the council, it is my pleasure to reappoint Kevin Perry and to reappoint James Middlebrooks to serve as members of the Civil Service Board on behalf of the City of Atlanta. Mr. Perry has faithfully served on the Civil Service Board since 2007, and Mr. Middlebrooks has served faithfully since 2009. Each are residents of the City of Atlanta and willing to serve in this capacity. The reappointments are for terms of 3 years to begin on the date of council confirmation. Based on their experience and commitment to the community, I'm confident that Mr. Perry and Mr. Middlebrooks will continue to serve the City of Atlanta and the Civil Service Board with integrity and dedication. A copy of each member's qualifications is attached for your review. Sincerely, Kasim Reed.
All right. Refer both of those items to Finance, Exec, and Committee on Council.
Thank you. The next 2 items I will read together as well, 12-C-0981 and 12-C-0982. Dear President Mitchell and members of the council, it is my pleasure to appoint Maynard Eaton and Johnny L. Wilson to serve as members of the People's TV Board of Directors on behalf of the City of Atlanta. Mr. Eaton and Mr. Wilson are residents of the City of Atlanta, and both are willing to serve in this capacity. These appointments are for terms of 2 years to begin on the date of council confirmation. Based on their experience and commitment to the community, I am confident that Mr. Eaton and Mr. Wilson will serve the City of Atlanta and the People's TV Board with integrity and dedication. A copy of Each gentleman's qualifications is attached for your review. Sincerely, Kasim Reed.
Okay, let's send these items to City Utilities and to Committee on Council.
12-C-0983, to Council President Caesar C. Mitchell and all members of council, from Rhonda Dothan Johnson, Municipal Clerk. The following previously adopted legislative item has received an administrative correction.